the risk-reward proposition for Bitcoin in the year 2024 is better than any other time in the history of the asset because you have institutional adoption, you have regulatory clarity, you see capital coming into the space, and yet still you can do the survey yourself. Ask 100 of your friends if they're fully invested in Bitcoin and if they understand it. And if 95 say no, right, I would say do your own research. But Bitcoin's 15 years old, so let's look at other great investments. 15 years after Manhattan was founded, was it a good investment?
In today's video, Michael Saylor answered the most important question. Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? And what's his prediction for the Bitcoin network in the future? Salyor also compared all assets as Bitcoin, so investors can make their best investment choices for high returns. Wait a minute, everyone. Welcome to Bitcoinzilla, your platform for daily cryptocurrency analysis and news. Our mission is to keep it simple. Bitcoinzilla offers engaging information that is easy to understand. Our analysts keep their eyes on the latest news to provide valuable insights via email. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join our community of 10,000 subscribers and experience the new edge with Bitcoinzilla. Subscribe now.
We can start 200 years after Manhattan was founded. In 1776, roll the clock forward, 1791. Was it a good investment? And was real estate in Manhattan in 1791 a good investment? Was it a good investment in 1865 after the Civil War? Was it a good investment in 1970? Was it a good investment 15 years afterwards in, 1995? Was it a good investment in London 20 years ago? 2,000 years after the Romans showed up in London, was it a good investment to buy London property? Right? I mean, these are scarce, desirable properties, right? It's 15 years late is not late, right? The difference between the winners and the losers is the winners buy something valuable and the losers are afraid, right? The losers are afraid to buy the valuable thing because it's too expensive. New York real estate was the most expensive real estate in the United States 300 years late. Right? It's always been the most expensive. I think, as I'd said, the real key is to understand what is Bitcoin's use case. It's digital capital. Well, how big is that? $400 trillion? Right? How much capital is locked up in real estate, equity, currency, bonds, collectibles, trophy assets, precious metals in the year 2024, right? There's probably half the value of most residential real estate is the monetary premium. It's the capital. So, how do you know this? I give you a little test. Go to Miami Beach, go up and down the beach, and then count the number of lights on in a condo building on the beach. Or go to Monaco and count the number of lights on. And what you'll find is that 80 to 90% of all of the condos don't have lights on at night. So people have huge amounts of capital tied up in these idle assets. And there's a lot of reasons for them, but one reason is because they feel like their money is safer there.
The price of Bitcoin surged past $59,000 on Wednesday, touching levels not seen since late 2021 as a bullish run for the top cryptocurrency continued. Up 40% so far this year, Bitcoin has been fueled by continued inflows into Bitcoin exchange-traded funds and hopes around the coming halving event, which is expected to happen in April. Past halvings of the crypto have coincided with bull runs, with whales and other key names piling cash back into BTC ahead of the April halving event. Bitcoin prices look likely to continue higher near-term, said James Hart of multi-asset broker Ticknell Group in a note to clients on Tuesday. As earlier reported by CoinDesk, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index shifted into extreme greed territory on Tuesday from just greed.
If you were a rich Russian and you had a choice between buying a bunch of real estate in Moscow or buying Bitcoin, well, with ex post facto hindsight, looking back for the last 30 years, okay, now let's play that out and you're a rich Nigerian. Now you're a rich, Turk. Now you're rich in Lebanon, right? And we don't have to be rich. Anybody with any amount of money anywhere in the world, right? You've got the last 100 years of history. You live in Germany in 1930. What do you want, a building or Bitcoin? You live in Argentina. What do you want? You want to own land? You want to own a building? You want a company? You want Bitcoin? The currency is going to collapse 5 times in 140 years. 5 times, right? Okay, so this is why we want to study history. If you study history, you're going to find that the currency collapsed thousands of times. In fact, on average, it collapses everywhere. Probably it collapses everywhere on average every 50 years in the history of the world. And that's maybe me being charitable. So is it too late? Well, can you actually take all of your property, put it in your pocket, and leave the country on one-day notice if you need to? If not, then you're probably not too late. So Bitcoin represents digital property. What's the value of digital property? Hundreds of trillions of dollars. Is it overvalued? Not yet. It's $1 trillion right now. So when it's 100 times more valuable than it is right now, will it be overvalued? Not likely. It's probably still going to be appreciating faster than every other thing you can buy. Why? Because it's better than every other thing you can buy. Show me a hotel you can put in your pocket and teleport. Right? $1 billion of gold is like 3,000 pounds, right? How are you going to move that, right? Right? Give me a company that's going to last through the next 3 CEOs, right? Do you know who the 3rd CEO will be after the one that runs the company now? And do you trust that person? Right? The S&P 500, haven't we established there's a 99% failure rate? These are the winners. There's a 99% failure rate to generate shareholder value amongst the 500 best companies in the world. Now, if there's a 99% failure rate amongst the 500 best companies in the world, then what's the failure rate amongst the 100 million companies in the world? And, what's the most successful nation-state currency in the history of the world? Well, if it's the dollar's lost 99.8% of its value in 100 years. Maybe 99.9% of its value. You could debate whether it's 99.8 or 99.9% of its value. Every other currency in every other country lost 100%. So if you're sitting around wondering, is Bitcoin overvalued? The question is overvalued versus what? Right? You're going to buy something, right? You're owning something in lieu of Bitcoin. What is that something which is better? Right? That's the real question. Because not selling is buying, but not buying is selling, right? And you've basically got a certain amount of economic energy. It's deployed somewhere, right? And the question is, what are you invested in that you think is better? And I think everybody's got to answer that question themselves, but
Microstrategy's HODL strategy is continuing to reward investors. The company said on Monday that it acquired an additional 3,000 bitcoins for a total of $155 million between February 15 and February 25. Microstrategy, along with its subsidiaries, now owns about 193,000 bitcoins worth $11 billion. Michael Saylor, the company's chairman and ex-CEO, and one of the cryptocurrency's principal evangelists, touted the latest purchase in a post on X, noting that MicroStrategy's average purchase price over time is $31,544. As of Tuesday, Bitcoin is trading at just under $57,000. The first 3 halvings, in 2012, 2016, and 2020, were all tied to bull runs in the price of Bitcoin. Research firm Benchmark said in a note on Tuesday that the most recent halving in May 2020 preceded Bitcoin's dramatic rise from $8,572 to an all-time high of $67,566 in 2021. MicroStrategy announced its plan to invest in Bitcoin in mid-2020, disclosing in an earnings call that it would commit $250 million over the next 12 months to one or more alternative assets, which could include digital currencies like Bitcoin. At the time, the company's market cap was about $1.1 billion. Analysts at TD Cowen wrote in a note on Tuesday that they expect the Bitcoin transactions to prove over time to be accretive to shareholders. Microstrategy represents a new kind of firm that generates dollar-based cash flow from enterprise software and cloud services, but then converts its excess cash flow, on an effectively leveraged basis, into Bitcoin, the TD Cowen analysts wrote. What started as a defensive strategy to protect the value of its reserve assets has become an opportunistic strategy intended to accelerate the creation of shareholder value. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. Not know why you haven't subscribed yet? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.